welcome you to our annual brunch and auction. If you've been here before, thank you so much. If this is your first time, we're really happy you're here. As Bob said, the auction has closed. You can still always make a donation through the website if you didn't get a chance or didn't win what you budgeted at the auction. This year's theme is the power of storytelling, and I think you're going to really enjoy our show today. Thank you so much for being a part of today and being a part of our organization. If you are here today, you are part of our organization, and we greatly appreciate it. I'd like to introduce our MC, Damian Holbrook. If you've been here before, you know what entertainment you're up for, and if you haven't, buckle in, and you will have a good time. Damian.
Everyone, good afternoon, and thank you so much for being here. I am Damian Holbrook, and yes, I've been here a couple times. I'm also the father of a Chihuahua who has never seen his father drunk, so I share a lot. We're all connected to some kind of animal. So I am so honored to be here every year, and I find it so impressive that people will carve time out of the only Sunday we get on weekends to come do something like this, to be a part of this conversation. Because, I mean, honestly, we're all leaving here and having, other conversations about who's not here, but I'd love to be a part of those conversations. So anyway, I also love the fact that, everyone here looks so fancy, but, 60% of us are probably hiding in regrettable tattoo that we got from somebody named Meatball who lives in Dotson. We clean up really nice for this thing, but we're the fancy ones here. So I just have to do some housekeeping things. First, we need to thank a bunch of people. First, I want to thank our lead sponsors, the platinum sponsors, Susan S. and Stephen P. Kelly. Both sponsors, Lincoln Investment, and then many. No? We have no investors. There are no sponsors. You are all paying for this. And I also, first want to also ask the members of the board of directors that be a part of a conversation to stand. And so we can welcome the newest board member, Kara Schwartz. So stand up, board members. To our favorite things raffle, which if you didn't bet on it, suckers. Some of that stuff there's a weighted blanket. Anyway, so we're going to select that at the end of the program. I want to thank the members of the event committee. So let's stand up and thank you to the lead chairperson, Lisa Boreta Bailey, and the rest of the event committee. So. We want to thank everyone who donated generously to the actual silent auction. There were 86 silent auction nights. Also, by the way, who won the Reading Phillies tickets? We're beefing. I was I've never bid on anything, and I was going for those 6 tickets. And she's anonymous. They're the worst. Anyway, so I want to thank all of you guys for the contributions, including the parent partnership meetings people, and please support the businesses who contributed, and thank you to Judy Hirsch, who curated this amazing action. That was amazing. So as Lisa mentioned, our theme this year is the power of storytelling. This year, our Conversation Inspiration Awards honor individuals who, by sharing their stories, have reduced the stigma and inspired others. Because Tiger Woods, Justin Timberlake, Ben Affleck, Lindsay Lohan, Robert Downey Jr., Jamie Lee Curtis, Elton John, all of those guys get all of their flowers for their DUIs and trips to rehab. But it's the people that we're awarding today that are actually trying to help, and rather than just getting a People magazine cover and a Netflix special. So I want to thank them for being here. But before we get to the awards, I want to introduce our special musical guest, Seth Lehman. He is a songwriter. Where is he? Where is he? Okay, there. So Seth is a songwriter, he's a musician, and he is a therapist. So if you need to hear about your oppositional defiance disorder, but to a kicky beat, he's your guy. So he is also literally in the middle of moving this weekend. So we thought it would be cool to have him perform first, so then he can get back to living his wildest dreams of like unpacking everything he owns. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Seth Lehman.
My name is Seth Lehman, and I want to thank Cam for letting me come here and share one of my songs. It's called Inner Child, and I hope you like it. And I miss the me of yesterday. He was free to dream and held to grace. Now I live to hide in cloak and shame, till I flee or drown and suffocate. Checking out of all my sorry plans, cut me down so I can grow again. Scream and shout to all the pain ahead, and then a child crawled away from hell. And don't take me down this road again. It's draining all my confidence, and the noose tied around my neck was formed all by words I spoke myself. Checking out of all my sorry plans, cut me down so I can grow again. Scream and shout to all the pain ahead, then a child crawled away from hell. Checking out of all my sorry plans, cut me down so I can grow again. Scream and shout to all the pain ahead, then a child crawled away from hell. Then a child crawled away.
Like Lisa said, if you're here today, you are part of the conversation, you're part of this organization. It's kind of like Olive Garden, when you're family. And unfortunately, we all have a family disease. But we're all here today because of one person who I feel like every year we get to be having a brunch just to celebrate her. For far too long, people like Kim Porter have just gone unsung. She is countlessly and effortlessly, endlessly, spending her efforts to help others. which is one of the greatest ways to spend a life, I think. She has done so many for us, for our families, countless other families that she'll never get to know. And as executive director and co-founder of Be a Part of the Conversation, her devotion to helping bridge that abyss between families and their loved ones who suffer from disease of alcoholism, addiction, substance use disorder, mental health issues. That work that she does has proven to be as inspirational as it is absolutely indispensable. The world is a better place with her in it, and our lives are so much better for knowing her. So please help me welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Damien, too. Oh my goodness, thank you all so much for being here. Really grateful to you all for joining us. You're about to meet one of my family members, but I'm going to talk about some other family first. First, I have to recognize table 6. This is my family that helped raise my child. My ex-husband is here, and all the moms and dads from our neighborhood and friends who it really takes a village, and I love you guys. But I also want to talk about my Be a Part of the Conversation family. And so I think you saw Bob, our tech wizard, working up here on the microphone. Bob Lamb, our Director of Operations and Programs. Truly our visionary, and has some really great plans and exciting things he's working on for our future. I'll talk more about that a little later. And Judy Hirsch, right here. Where's Pam Roberts? Pam Roberts. Coordinator. Brianna Dubois is over there. Our communications manager. All of our social media poster, thanks Brianna. And Michael Blanche. I know he's the leader of all things Ethos, and he's the co-founder and chief clinical officer at Ethos, but he's also our clinical advisor and was our very first speaker when we launched in 2011. So he has been with us from the beginning, quite literally. So thank you all, and I just appreciate you all so much. I'm going to show you a little video, and I already apologized to Kyle, our videographer, for the rudimentary nature of this because it was done on Zoom. We have something called Parent Partnership. There are all these amazing parent support group meetings called Parent Partnership. We have 21 that meet every week. Pam is the coordinator of those, and you're going to see a little video. Pam and I spent some time interviewing our folks on Zoom late last summer, and I finally put it together and wanted to share it with you. So we're going to watch this about 5 minutes long.
Parent Partnership is a place where people can get resources.
And we do have children and people that come in our group who are as young as 14 and as old as 54 with all different substances.
Suggestions, but not advice.
What is said in the meeting stays in the meeting.
The first thing we say is you don't have to say a word. You can just sit there and listen. And when you're comfortable and ready, jump in. And inevitably, before the end of the meeting, they always jump in because they're feeling that comfortable.
It takes courage to show up at a meeting and to keep coming back.
There's no judgment, non-judgmental.
There's no judgment.
I want them to know that they're in a safe space and there's no judgment.
The relief I felt at not being alone was just huge and kept me coming back.
It was almost like you could just substitute one name or one child's story for another child's story.
If you keep coming back, you're probably going to hear something that is pretty close to your own story or situation.
I got dragged in kicking and screaming. I walked into the first meeting, saw how many people were there dealing with the exact same issue, and felt so much better when we walked out.
And sharing with a group of people who are all in the same situation was so freeing for me.
I was trying to find a group of, like, what do men do when they get a little bit older towards retirement? Where can I join a man's group? Like what, bowling or what? You know, I had no idea, and I landed in this group, and I guess it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
And I walked into this room of parents who I knew nobody. And I was welcomed with such warm support and love unconditionally.
They accepted me immediately. They understood where I was at.
It was the first time I felt like other people are really getting this. I mean, get me. And I had a safe place to share.
I'm not alone. You know, that was the thing that I always felt, that I was alone. There are people out there that don't understand. I can't express my feelings to people who don't understand and are going through what I'm going through.
Honestly, I just felt like I had come home to a really warm place with people that understood me for the first time.
To tell you the truth, I don't know what I would have done without the meeting.
And I could see the things that people were talking about in the meetings beginning to work in my life.
And yet I also began to recognize that as I began to change, it was having an impact on my child.
As parents, you know, we try to jump in there and try to help and try to save, and we're hurting ourselves.
We were only doing as well as they were doing at that time. So I think one of the things that we all worked on was boundaries.
We're out and we're doing things and we're putting that smile back on our face. So
these are my closest friends now.
We think we come for our loved one, and the learning we're here for ourselves, and the growth that we experience and what we can do with our lives, whether or not our loved one recovers, we can regain our own life and our own health and well-being.
We have this gentleman that comes to group, and he is definitely the kindest, gentlest, sweetest person that I've ever met. And to watch him just kind of come alive now is just, it's amazing.
What I see too is parents, myself included, letting go of certain expectations.
We not only got to see them heal as individuals, but we also got to see them heal as a loving couple.
And the light bulb going off look was priceless.
You know, he's become such an avid supporter of others and, you know, always that positive voice, and just a real big turnaround.
But it also helped move the whole family forward. I'm not guessing that he got that from the parent partnership meeting. He says it.
The first time in years, she took a vacation because she felt safe enough, strong enough to be able to handle anything that would happen.
Now she's even going on vacations with other members of the group.
To watch her grow within our group was amazing.
Last week, 2 of our longtime members wanted a copy of Standing in the Storm. I'm like, voila, it's on the website. This is awesome. This is exactly where you can go and find so many other things.
I didn't realize that I needed to recover, and I did, and will do forever.
I envision being in this program the rest of my life. There's absolutely no question about it. I couldn't imagine life without it. It would be empty. So it's amazing.
So a lot of those folks are in this room, and many more. We have 50 parents who have lived this and are volunteers, and also they lead these parent partnership meetings, and they're family recovery course instructors. Could every one of you please stand up and stay standing for the last one? You know, if it weren't for Pam and Bill Roberts, I don't know if I'd be standing up. And they helped not only to support me in the early days of my son's entry into the recovery world, but also helped to build the organization. I mean, you guys were, you know, big brains helping me try to figure out how to make me a part of the conversation. solve it and continue. And if it weren't for Heifer Horsham School District, which last year we honored that school district, and Dr. Williams, Dr. Taylor were here, and we honored them because that school district had the foresight to say we need to talk about this and be transparent. The actual real true, not true, they're all true, but the original, if it weren't for, is my son Daniel. And Daniel's here. And I usually don't really push for my kids to be here. They live in Colorado. My daughter is knee-deep in school in California right now, but because I'm insane like the week before this and I'm wiped out after it. So I'm like, no, I want you to come because Daniel just celebrated 15 years and I'm just so excited. I'm so sorry that you had to endure the pain of an addiction. And look at you. I mean, my God, it's just an inspiration to me. You were one of our first panelists. You allowed me, we've talked about this a lot already today, allowed me to show his 14-year-old self and say, he used to do drugs a year before that. I mean, like, the story helps. It helps to make it relatable. It really helps for people to see the impact that this has on us as family members and on our loved ones. So I'm going to stop talking and let Daniel come on up here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel, Kim's son, and public speaking is not my drug of choice. So I'm going to read. Like many of you in this room, I've had the privilege to see this organization evolve and blossom into what it is today. A true resource that is approachable, connecting, and a shining example of community support. I take great pride in sharing with people what my mom and everyone at Be Part of the Conversation has created. When I share about it in Colorado, people often follow up with a story about someone they love who is struggling with substance use and ask how to get involved or where they can find more information. What this organization has created is a lifeline every family navigating this story deserves. I'm proud of my mom and everyone at Be Part of the Conversation for creating so many opportunities for connection during a time where there can be so much shame and isolation. Well, I know I wouldn't be here without my mom because of birth and all that. But I wouldn't be the man I am today without her courage, love, curiosity, and care. In the darkest times of my drug-fueled lifestyle, I can't imagine the pain my parents must have felt with light years of emotional distance, lack of trust, and no tether to their son. I can only imagine the amount of fear, isolation, and hopelessness they felt with respect to our relationship and my well-being. I am blessed to be up here talking about it 15 years later and a lifetime in between. This chapter asked for transformation from our whole family, and wow, did my mom say yes. My mom is a leader. My mom is an artist. She's a connector and an advocate for families. And I'm grateful to call her my mom. 15 years ago, I was on a destructive path, overwhelmed by fear, self-consciousness, and shame. I learned what worked for me in the moment and held onto it with a firm grip. I found that my controlled world was all I wanted to be in, and no one understood it but me. Pretty lonely. I will say that I had glimpses of spirit and was exposed to many of the beautiful, enchanting philosophies I still put faith in today, but it wasn't integrated. It was ungrounded and unsustainable, to say the least. I was living in a fear-based, self-centered illusion that put my pain before everyone else's. A shame spiral that was remedied temporarily by big hits of dopamine. I thank my parents for their courage to ask for help and to find guidance on a path to whole family health. They connected me to inpatient treatment, where I met Patrick Dowling, with no guarantee that I would accept it or even benefit from it. By some miracle, I was introduced to the theme of this brunch, the art of storytelling. It was within my first year of recovery that I first listened wholeheartedly to the stories of others who I identified with, who had suffered from similar fears, who were 50 years older than me, who listened to my story as I listened to theirs, and who told me with conviction that there is a way out. I was an absolute sponge at that moment of my life, soaking up every drop of philosophical and spiritual juice. I learned how to laugh again, and what friendship could look like. And the best part was that I wasn't alone. I shared the experience with others who were in the same boat, and with my family, who were in a different boat, but with other families that were connecting over storytelling and emotional vulnerability in their own way. Two boats floating next to each other with their own resources, weathering the same storm. Today, I'm married to a woman who inspires me. I have friendships that go deep and feel supported by life. In contrast to 15 years ago, my life is much more full of health, spirit, and wonder, and I have a greater orientation towards presence, vulnerability, and self-love. I feel that my odds were greatly improved because of the support my parents received. Family is a sense of place, belonging, and familiarity. If I didn't feel accepted within my family, it would have been a lot more challenging for me to feel accepted elsewhere. It's a gift that this was the case for me. I'm in awe that Be Part of the Conversation is giving the same gift to families with the magnitude that it does. My story is not unique, and it isn't just mine, it's my family's. Thank you.
You guys, seriously, it is so important what you're doing here, all of you supporting this and creating this. When I got sober, my mother only had Oprah to go for guidance, and then she admitted she did crack, and my mom was like, "Oh, you're on your own, kid." So thank you, congratulations to Daniel and to Kim. So now we want to get to the Conversation Inspiration Awards. We have two incredible recipients this year. First is Dr. Sean Fogler, and we are delighted to honor him for his unflinching transparency in sharing his personal story. Awesome. There he is. He's sharing his personal story in support of others who have struggled with substance use disorder. She's waving. Oh, you're just telling them where to go to food. Okay. I think she needs help. And you're in the right room. So anyway, he has helped others who have struggled with substance use disorder and his tireless efforts to reduce the stigma so often associated with addiction. Like Kim and so many of you here today, it is impossible to measure the lives that he has touched by educating professionals, policymakers, and the general public. So I want to keep this tight because he has some things to say, but his bio is online, and he and both of our recipients today, their bios are extensive and impressive, and I shot out my attention span, so I'm going to get them on audiobook. But you guys should check them out, and because they're incredible people. And I'm going to bring up our first recipient so he can talk to you, Dr. Sean Fogler.
Thank you so much. I'm incredibly honored and humbled, and thank you, Kim and Bob, for inviting me here. There's so much to say, but I'm going to keep it brief because it's Sunday. Everybody's eating. This really isn't about me. It's about all of us, family, community, and connection, human connection. You know, we have an epidemic in this country, not just of mental health and substance use issues, but of the stigmatization of this disease. It keeps people isolated, disconnected, and suffering in silence. And I think the antidote to that is human connection. And that loneliness is deadly. It's more deadly than any other drug. It's really not the drugs, it's not the alcohol. And that's what really drives my work. You know, this is personal for me. I've experienced tremendous shame, isolation, and disconnection myself. personally and professionally. And it lit a fire in me. And clearly it's lit a fire in all of you. And be a part of the conversation, I think, is critically important, and especially today. The social and political climate today has made things extraordinarily challenging. And the interesting thing is that this affects all of us, and we are aligned, despite what you might see in the media, what you might read, what you might hear. We are aligned, all of us, across the political spectrum. And I think it's really important to realize that and understand that, because that is energy, like that is power, and that can change things. And so I'll just leave it at that, and thank you all. I'm lucky to be here today. I'm gonna try. When I was driving over here, I was like, I'm not gonna cry. And I brought my daughter here to see this, because I think it's so important for our children to see the power of all of this. And to your words, which were incredibly powerful, I think you hit on everything I'm saying, so I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much. I'm incredibly humbled and honored. Thanks.
She's crying! It's about time the parents get to make the kids cry. Our next recipient, you all know. Our next recipient is Mallory Henry, and she is being honored for her remarkable efforts. They're never inviting me back. For her remarkable efforts to support individuals. This is amazing, actually, because when they were explaining this to me, where's Mallory? Okay, when we were talking about this, I was like, no one has ever brought this thing up. So that's a little fanboy. So anyways, she's supporting individuals who have been impacted by their siblings' substance use disorder. We believe that siblings are an underserved population, and we are so grateful for Mallory for her compassion and dedication to those with a shared lived experience with a sibling. She facilitates a monthly support group meeting for anyone aged 18 or older who has a sibling with a substance use disorder. The meeting offers participants a safe and understanding space to share the challenges of their role in the family system that has experienced a loved one's addiction to alcohol or other drugs, while feeling understood and supported by others with a shared lived experience. This is something that is amazing. Like this, I never thought of this because my brothers are monsters. So I'm still like, they deserved it. So I'm just so impressed with this, and I can't believe it's taken us this long to figure this one out. So let's bring up Mallory Henry, please.
It's funny, I wrote things and my brother's here with me and he was like, we are so different. That I wrote things and he would never. So first and foremost, I just want to thank you all. First, Kim, Danny, thank you, Daniel. I only know him as Danny because my brother. So thank you so much for this event, and honestly, this honor, it means so much to me. As someone, a sibling of someone with a substance use disorder, it's such a unique experience. When my brother found recovery, I felt lost. My role in the family was to fix, to be the mediator, to be the middle one, to be the perfect one. And I felt lost, and I watched him find this recovery, and I started to say, like, what do I do? My parents are at capacity. They can't possibly take on anything more. And I, would walk into Al-Anon meetings and parent support groups and felt like I couldn't be honest because I couldn't possibly be another person to bring shame or guilt to a parent. And it kind of left me feeling like, well, what about me? And, my parents were invited to events and family therapy sessions, and I was not invited. And it was like, where was my voice in the conversation? And so I feel like a lot of
siblings have that similar feeling, whether it's substance use disorder or mental illness or physical, developmental delays or whatever. And, so I work at Caron, and one of the wonderful abilities I've had to work at Caron has been to share my story as a sibling. And I didn't think my story was all that interesting until I started to share it. And so many people would come up afterwards and say, me too, or that sounds like me, or that could be my story. And that was when I started to realize that I wasn't the only sibling that felt misunderstood and didn't realize how powerful it was to share our stories. And so when I started to share and talk, I felt so much better. And, I'm going to paraphrase this, but there's a Brene Brown quote where she says, where vulnerability lives, shame cannot. And I started to really feel powerful and feel like I had some control over something I felt so out of control in, because I did have the empowerment to share my story. And sharing my story has ultimately brought me to co-facilitating a support group. So shout out to my dear co-facilitator, Kevin, who's in the room today, who's a fellow sibling on this journey, who brings an amazing voice and allows me to have space as well, the two of us to share this experience. I always say it's a club I never, ever wanted to be a part of, and now is one of the most meaningful parts of my life. And I know I'm seeing a lot of heads shake in that sense. So I'm grateful to Kevin. I'm grateful to have the opportunity. I'm also amazingly grateful to work for the organization of Caron. I have a lot of colleagues in the room today who are phenomenal, and recently I've been able to step in the role of Director of Family Education, and to be able to see all of you here doing the work and knowing that when I'm sitting with those families and I'm standing in front of them, I was all day yesterday standing in front of a room full of 50 families who had a loved one currently in treatment, to say, this isn't the end. This is actually the starting line. Your journey starts now, and you get to recover. You get to find this amazing, powerful, life, and you get to watch your life get better than you could have ever imagined. My brother is I watch him live recovery, and he's an amazing human being and has amazingly vulnerable and deep relationships, and now I get to have that too. And so I feel so eternally grateful to have that experience and get to teach and illustrate to families that vulnerability can outlift shame, and it can bring hope. And even if their loved one doesn't choose to stay in recovery or sobriety, that they can find healing and peace and serenity for themselves. And so what I say to families all the time, and what I want to end with, is while substance use disorder does run in families, so does recovery. And for all of you in this room, the amazing gift that you are giving to your children, their children, future generations, that, changing the conversation, how powerful that is, and giving the gifts of recovery that will continue to give. So keep sharing your stories, keep being vulnerable, so that we can continue to fight the stigma and bring hope and healing to families. So thank you all. I really appreciate it.
So now I bring up our keynote speakers for the Conversation Inspiration Awards. And these two are a perfect example of we're not a glum lot and the importance of not taking everything too seriously. And I'm going to read their bio because it's absolutely priceless. So Lisa and Jeff Farrell. Lisa and Jeff reside in Northern Virginia and have raised 4 beautiful young adult children. Lisa has been in the hospitality industry for most of her adulthood, driving sales and profit to many apartment communities and hotels throughout the country. Lisa's morning workouts get her day started, and you can hear her singing throughout her day, as she loves to sing. And I'm wondering who wrote that part. When she is fortunate enough to retire, she wants to provide support to families beginning their journey with SUD of a loved one, and has completed the DVHDS Peer Recovery Specialist Family Support Training course. So that's awesome in itself, because I believe she went through it and then she got the certification, which is incredible. Jeff is an affordable lending manager and manages programs for low to moderate income homebuyers. Jeff's love of bowling takes him to the alley every Thursday with his work bowling league, and for relaxation, Jeff loves to fish and looks forward to seeing what he can catch every summer while at the beach. The two enjoy their daily walk with their dog Rudy and their grand dog Ryder, which means Rudy is a widower. Sorry for your loss. Quiet evenings watching good action-packed TV series and weekend getaways. So with that, you now know what you're getting into, and I would love to bring up our keynote speakers, Lisa and Jeff Farrell. Jeff!
First of all, I'm really emotional right now, and this is just incredible. It's our first time here, and we are so honored to be here today, just surrounded by the most incredible people. Be a part of the conversation, Synergy, Heather's Way. Those three in particular have touched our hearts and our lives in more ways anyone will ever know, forever. So thank you. Okay, our storytelling. A little over 2 years ago, we dropped our son Andrew, who's with us today, off to the Synergy Sober Living to begin his life of sobriety. And we were literally 2 years in a headlight. But we always were holding on to that hopefulness and also scared to death of the unknown. We had no clue. We soon began bi-weekly calls with a wonderful Synergy case manager to discuss Andrew's progress. And I remember that one pivotal conversation a few months in, as we began asking questions. We just wanted to gain so much more information as to what substance use disorder really was. And it was during that call that she asked, have you guys ever heard of Be a Part of the Conversation? Oh, I'm sorry. And we had not heard of being part of the conversation. Well, the next day we received an email flyer for a family recovery course that we could sign up for. And I remember reading the flyer and it said, quote, we have been right where you are and, quote, educating loved ones about addiction. Thus began our recovery as a family. And then for 3 consecutive Saturdays, Jeff and I drove, we live in Northern Virginia, and we drove from Northern Virginia to Pennsylvania to be a part of the family recovery course led by 2 incredible instructors and human beings, Kim Porter and Chris King. Now, I could stand up here for 2 days and talk about this course, but of course I have limited time, so I'm just going to highlight a couple of the things that to this day we walk in it. We learned through this course what drugs do to the brain, the progression of this disease, and why some become addicted and others don't become addicted. We learned that they must hit rock bottom before they're ready for help. That was just a myth. We had no clue. We, family members, could help to raise the bottom, wow, by not protecting their addiction. That light bulb went off. It was both so scary to Jeff and I, but it was really life-changing for us too. And those discussions that we had during our family recovery course helped us out of protecting our son's addiction mindset to concentrating on our own recovery as parents and bringing our family into it as well. The next light bulb that went off was something called the 3 A's of recovery: awareness, acceptance, and action. And we had really good discussions about this in the family recovery course. Awareness, the opposite of awareness is denial. We've been in the dark, and now a light has been turned on. And with awareness comes awakening that requires us to change. And that led us into the acceptance part. That's a positive step toward taking charge of our life and responsibilities. And it leads us to much more of an emotional balance, much more of a peace of mind, and it freed us to take those next steps into action. And we talked a lot about what that action piece was. And we started setting healthy boundaries, maintaining our own integrity, and continuing our own recovery path as our son was on his own recovery path. Those discussions about what was in our power and what was not, to this day, continue to provide us with so much clarity. Finding our joy again is a wonderful feeling, and being able to experience that joy with ourselves and our family, and while staying in our own lane, it just feels so good. Now, lastly, we have become what is called lighthouse parents. We had no clue what that was. The course definition of lighthouse parents is someone who is reliably there, totally trustworthy, shining a light that can guide our child to recovery, and committed to letting them learn to navigate their own water and ride their own waves. We're balanced, we're loving and warm, and the most profound thing that we can offer our children is our own healing and staying in our own lane. We now choose to be the lighthouse parents, and this type of parenting allows all children to become the grown men and women on their terms, making their own choices, knowing we will always be here to support the healthy ones. This course put into motion what continues to be our daily practice of pursuing our own family recovery journey. And with the amazing guidance of Kim and Chris, and just we had such a safe space to talk about whatever, all of the feelings, all of it. We learned so much, the education of substance use disorder, the endless resources that are available to us all the time. And our lives continue to be just so bright and joyful and filled with so much love as a total family unit now. We continue to trust the process, loving all 4 of our kids in the healthiest ways we can, while we take care of ourselves now in the healthiest way we can. And our most wonderful gift, and this is where we get really emotional, is our son is over 2 years sober. And I just want to thank all of you from the bottom of our heart. Kim, be a part of the conversation, and just everybody, Heather, everybody here for this incredible parent partnership and just letting us share today. You all are our forever family, and we just love you guys. Thank you.
I can tell you, so Jeff and Lisa, I know your son, I know him, and he's such a good guy. He's such a good guy, so congratulations. His girlfriend, not so much. She could use some work. All right, and finally, we have a performance today. Again, I'm not going to have him back. So today we have Joseph Green, who is a spoken word artist who we have had here before. He is back by popular demand. After honoring him in 2023, when our theme was creative recovery, we knew there would be no one better to close out the program today than Joseph, as we recognize the power of storytelling. He is a storyteller, he is an educator, a narrative disruptor with a passion for connecting people through the power of words. With over 20 years of experience, he helps individuals and organizations harness their stories to inspire change. So I am going to be quiet because he's better with words than I am, and I'm going to let him come up and do what he does best. So everyone, Joseph Green.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, there's always that weird moment in between getting up here and like starting to speak where you're afraid something embarrassing might happen. I'm honored to be here because all of those things that were named about me are possible because I am a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorder and mental illness, and my work takes me all over the country, and I get to teach storytelling, tell my story, and work with organizations that bring so much hope and life and second chances and third chances and fourth chances to people. And this beautiful thing that I have now, this recovery, my wife, my 2 sons, and the ability to be present in their life is due to people like you. Whether you are actively working in the program, here supporting the program, know someone and drag them here so that they could be here and see what was happening and bring their love and power and energy into this room, you are all part of what is making your community and world a better place. And this poem is dedicated to organizations like this, that staff the Lighthouse, that are always there when we need them, that have people that understand that a call at 2 o'clock in the morning to help your child may seem inconvenient to most people, but it's the most important thing to you. And they answer that phone and they build these programs and they're there when we need them. It is called For the Choir, and I hope you enjoy. For the choir. Don't stop preaching to the choir, for they may cease to sing. This sermon is for you. When I was a younger man, I had the honor, though I did not recognize it at the time, to listen to my great Uncle John lead the choir at Calvary Baptist Church in Chester, South Carolina. The first few times, even the familial connection failed to arouse the spirit in me. These songs are sung for souls who have known heavy, delivered at the same frequency that transformed slaves into freedom fighters, stiffened the marching spines of 1 million revolutionaries. I was a punk kid, runny-nosed and drunk on my individualistic interests, positioned into a place of privilege by sacrifices from forebearers forgotten or never known, definitely not found within the covers of my school books. When the time was appropriate, when the preacher spouted something especially in tune with the spirit, my uncle just seemed to know it was time. He would begin with a call and response. Then the choir would break out into a rehearsed song, and then, as if choreographed, the entire congregation joined in. I didn't understand. I couldn't comprehend. Hands clean, eyes closed, senses dampened to the suffering surrounding me. I didn't even have a name for my own pain. But ain't that grace? I was blessed to have been awoken to a greater purpose in life and enough time to go back and hear my Uncle John sing one more time before his passing. What I heard in the music that day connected me to a voice that will never be mine alone, merely borrowed. A voice built by those who for all of time have risen to occasions deemed impossible, accepted missions denied by all others, chose paths known to be fraught with doom, a voice of welcome, declaring amidst the disastrous clamor of history, here, you are safe. Here is where healing happens. Here, you are no longer alone. A voice that shatters fear, topples regimes, and will stand next to the oppressed, mistreated, and marginalized in light or shadow, until we can all be heard. A voice that preaches to the choir, sings to the congregation and calls in those who have traditionally been left outside the church's door. This poem is a sermon of gratitude for all the individuals and organizations that use their voice to dismantle despair, break barriers, heal the harmed, lighthouse home the lost, or pray for the sick and forgotten. May these words lift up your spirit, carry you a few extra miles in your vital yet oftentimes thankless work. Though your song may be muffled by the overwhelming discord of this world, please do not silence your voice. As long as I am able, I will play herald to your harmonies of hope until the entire congregation joins in. Thank you.
Me again. What was I thinking? Putting myself, can you just read what I'm supposed to say?
Or you read it?
No. Amazing, amazing. Thank you. He drove from Washington, D.C. to be with us. Wow. This short, I know that we're running over. I don't know how that happened. We had like 8 honorees last year. We thought, well, we'll tighten it up. So well. Okay, so you heard about a lot of our services and programs that we've been doing for 14 years now. And you met the staff. So Bob and I are the only full-time employees. You know, we've got Judy's part-time and we've got a whole lot of volunteers and some independent contractors. And it is, we had 51 community programs this year that we're doing just this year. And family recovery course, 18 courses this year, I believe. 19 courses this year. Thanks to a lot of the people that you've met here today. But we have got to grow this organization. We've just got to expand our staff. We have so many things that we want to do. We have a lot of folks who are in thousands of families have met us, have been impacted by us, have engaged with the programs and services that you heard about. Does anyone here think that there are only that many people that it's like the 7,000 subscribers that we have to our newsletter, that's it? The rest of the region is totally fine. They're not affected by substance use. I mean, we need more people to know. God bless you. We need to know, to let more people know about what we do and that we are a conduit to resources, to treatment providers, to private practice therapists, to recovery houses, to all the support groups that are out there, everything. We want to be that facilitator to help make these connections happen, because you heard in the parent partnership videos about that isolation. We really need that connection, and so we need to grow. We need a director of development and marketing, somebody who can really help us to reach more people. We need something we really want to do. Judy Hirsch and I and a lot of other people in this room, Sharon Bader's not certified family recovery specialists. We're not therapists, we are peer specialists who work with other families who are impacted like this. We would like to hire somebody full-time who's a CFRS, who could then triage them out to other CFRSs or therapists or other treatment providers and help those families one-on-one that we encounter in the family recovery course, in the parent partnership meetings, that just need a deeper connection and a deeper level of care. So we're raising around $100,000 today, which is, give yourselves a round of applause. And the next time we'll raise $100,000 is a year from now. So my point is, I'm hoping that we will plant some seeds here about, you know how a lot of us have streaming services that we pay monthly for streaming services, or we have health and wellness apps that we pay monthly for. It would be great if we had some recurring. We have a few recurring donors. We would love to see some folks think about doing a monthly, quarterly contribution that would get us there so that we can have some of these other staff members that will help us to expand the work that we're doing. We have providers from Chester County Drug and Alcohol who are incredibly supportive of what we do, along with Montgomery County, Bucks County, and Delaware County. So we do get that support for very specific programming, which is awesome. Yet we still need to do a lot more with our staff, so with the outreach and all that. So I just wanted to plant that seed. And the other piece that I wanted to mention was we want you to consider making us a part of your legacy, because what a beautiful gift to share with our families that we know is impacted. We have, you have an insert in your programs that has a link to our donate page. And right there you can find some information about whether it's making a straight donation, a recurring contribution, or considering us as part of your planned giving. I hope you'll take a look at those. So if you're here today because you really wanted to support what we do, thank you so much for your contributions, for what you're doing to be our ambassadors, be our supporters. If you're here because be a part of the conversation has in some even small way improved your life, impacted you in some way that helps in your own recovery as a family, keep coming back. We love you. I'll give it to Damien now.
So we do have to close this up, but I do want to say on a personal note, we met before this last week to just go over some things, and I was looking at the table chart and noticing the names and the groups that were at each table, and I'm kind of like boots on the ground. I don't work in the field, but I am a recipient of the work that you do in the field, because everyone in my life is sober, except for my monster brothers. But I was looking at the names of the groups and the names of the people, and I was like, this is the Avengers of recovery. This group in this room especially, every one of you has done something that, and it's one of my favorite lines from a piece of literature, added to the stream of life. And I know that the work you do is really heartbreaking, and it is difficult, and it is dispiriting sometimes. But I just want to remind you that sometime today, a person who has come across your work, who has gone through your program, who has gone through your sober house, who has gone through your treatment center, that person is going to do something amazing today. So I know there are setbacks, but there are also incredible wins, and I've been around long enough to watch those wins, and those people got there on your backs. So I just want to thank all of you for making incredible people who are in my life, and hopefully in your life as well. So thank you, and let's give a round of applause. And now we're going to draw the raffle ticket for the your favorite things. I feel like this is like town hall thing. All right. Tria Jones.
Oh no, are you serious? Yeah, that's
Tria?
me. Yeah.
Tria, there you go. All right, so the announcement, I have to announce the auction checkout procedure, which I'm sure you probably all figured out because it's just an app. But get out your phones and check to see if you won, like my baseball tickets, and then take your winnings home today. Thank you to everyone, and don't forget to collect your gifts as you leave. And again, thank you for everything you do, and hopefully I'll see you in a year. Have a great day. Oh yeah, don't forget to get back. If we see them on eBay later today, we'll track you down.